Hello and welcome to this episode of the World's Best Coaches series, the series where we're going around the world and interviewing the best of the best when it comes to business coaching and education. Today, I am joined by Peter Gandolfo, the senior partner of Evolution. Peter, I'm just going to hand it over to you for a minute to kind of talk about what you do and introduce yourself.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate being here with you today. I am a senior partner at Evolution. I'm based in Los Angeles. Evolution is a coaching, consulting, and full service firm that works with leadership development with businesses of all size. My specific work is a mix of one-on-one and group coaching. I have done everything from career transition, one-on-one coaching, executive coaching, as well as team facilitation, offsites, leadership development programs.
Awesome.
In
So,
terms of the focus, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, please finish, please.
In terms of the focus, I'm industry agnostic
Yeah.
and I'm really level agnostic. I just want to work with leaders that are focused on feeling in charge and in control of the direction that their careers are taking.
Amazing. Okay. So taking a step back for a second, looking at the beginning of your journey, what was that like and what inspired you to get into this field of work?
Well, it all started about 10 years ago. The the preceding events were turning 40, becoming a dad for the first time, and starting my 10th year in the toy industry. Something that I love, but I also, with the milestone birthday, realized that I wanted to do other things in my life as well. And a series of events brought me to a leadership development organization called the Drucker Institute. If people are familiar with Peter Drucker, they did offsites, retreats, and forums using his principles. And what inspired me to go get certified as a coach was a combination of I was expected to provide coaching as part of our follow-up services to individuals that had been to our events,
Yeah.
and I didn't really know what I was doing. And a mentor of mine at Mattel had gone ahead of me, and she had gotten certified at the Hudson Institute, and it kind of felt like this convergence where the universe was saying this is something to give a go.
Wow, that's amazing. Interesting. So in the toy industry, what specifically did you do there?
So I worked in brand management and global brand in international marketing at companies like Mattel. Marketing people were really at the hub of the wheel. So it was more of a general management role than what some people might think of as marketing, which is focused exclusively on communications. So we touched all four P's: product, pricing, promotion, and placement. And I was fortunate to work for 4.5 years on the Barbie brand
Wow.
and another 4.5 years on the Disney portfolio, including Toy Story and Disney Princess and Frozen.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so cool. Awesome. So stepping back into the coaching world now, I'm sure that you've worked with a large amount of businesses of different sizes over your, years in this area. What are some of the biggest problems that you're seeing nowadays with the business owners and CEOs that you come across?
Um, I think some of the themes are universal to previous times, but maybe they become a little bit more pronounced. Um, I'm definitely seeing themes of burnout, both in the leaders themselves, as well as worrying about the burnout within their organizations. It's no surprise to anyone that there's been a tightening of the belt over the last year and a half or so. And so leaders and teams are feeling stretched to do more with either flat or diminishing resources.
Mm.
And I think more so than ever, there's an awareness of the CEOs and founders of the impact that that's having on their well-being, the mental health of themselves, their leadership team, and their employee base. And it's really prompting them to think about, how am I going to define success? Is getting to a larger price tag on an acquisition or an earlier acquisition worth it if it comes at the expense of the well-being of their employees? Or the health of the relationships that are most important in their lives. I mean, I was just talking to a CEO yesterday in a rapidly growing startup, and she was having a real pause on like, what is most important to me, and is there a way for me to do what is being called of me professionally without sacrificing what is most important to me outside of work.
Wow, it's really powerful. And yeah, it comes down to kind of leveling yourself, doesn't it? And managing your personal life and your work life. I can see that, yeah, absolutely incredible. So obviously, you know, that AI has obviously been coming into the market now. It's being used probably daily in most businesses for kind of content creation, programming, various stuff. But how do you feel like that is going to impact small businesses, you know, across the world in the next few years as it's developed?
Well, I think it's wise for anybody, regardless of the size of their business, to be thinking about ways that they can get more comfortable with AI, finding ways of using it to either support the work they're already doing, or help do it a little bit faster or freshen the ideas. For me personally, I love to be able to take something maybe that a marketing message I've written before, and ask for AI's help in finding a new or fresh angle at approaching it. And I will still go back to it and tweak it and make it in my voice. But I look at it not as a substitute for the writing that I would do, but as a thought partner
Yeah,
to help me. And the message that I've heard from a lot of leaders, including those in small businesses, is that uh, AI isn't going to take your job. The person who has your field of experience that has learned AI is the one that could. So why not be the one to figure it out? And in my one-on-one work with clients, for a lot of them, I'm encouraging them to figure out what certification, what program, what can they go out to do so that they become a subject matter expert in their field of work and the intersection with AI.
yeah, absolutely. If you're not adapting and you're not learning constantly, I think even if you're in a job or if you're a CEO, you know, then you're not moving, you're going backwards. And it's important that you're consistently developing your skills and knowledge, I guess. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So if I am an aspiring business coach, I'm coming out of corporate and I'm about to step into the world of business coaching. It's been a passion of mine that I wanted to, you know, go and achieve. What kind of advice would you give me, you know, going from that career now stepping into business coaching and ownership?
My first piece of advice would be that if you're feeling any sense of fear, try to separate that from any wisdom that you're getting from your gut. One of the challenges I'd had earlier on when I was making the decision on whether to go out on my own as a coach was that I was interpreting my fear as a message from my gut. And a very wise friend in the coaching world said, um, excuse my language, but I think that's a bunch of BS. I have been in business for 8 years, she said, and I am scared all the time. So what if you gave yourself permission to be afraid and do it anyway? Now, that doesn't mean just blindly jump off the comfort of a corporate job into the unknown waters,
Yeah,
but be able to listen to that. The second thing would be to do what it is you can to give yourself as much runway. And so if that means doing this as a side hustle as you build up your experience, or doing some consulting in the work of your prior career so that you've got some income coming in while you're building your practice, I think both of those are reasonable things. And then the last piece of advice is that give yourself permission to experiment with different types of services that you offer or different audiences that you target. You don't know where your zone of genius might be. You could have a hypothesis, but as an example, I never would have known that I have a strong connection in coaching leaders in nonprofit unless I had been willing to give it a first go.
absolutely. Yeah, I met with a coach recently who was talking about, you know, he honed in on the subjects that he was passionate about the most. So there was two or three that could be industry based or whatever. and he honed in on them. And it was clear from his clients' reception that they can tell when you are passionate and care about that certain line of work, and you do want to help, and it's coming from a deep place. And yeah, I think it's massively important. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I had a hypothesis when I first started that the majority of my clients would be in marketing or entertainment. The marketing because of my marketing background, and entertainment because I'm based in LA. And while there's a fair representation of both of those, that wasn't what the market was telling me where the opportunity was. And so it was that what is that intersection between what I'm passionate about and what the market is telling me to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So in the UK, there's a little bit of a thing. I'm not sure if it's the same in Los Angeles, because I guess Los Angeles is also a lot different to a lot of different areas in the US. And we
Absolutely.
have some misconceptions, quite some common misconceptions around business coaching. People opening their businesses up, their babies, to let someone in and come in and start to guide them and set them goals and teach them. Have you come across any of these types of misconceptions with business owners?
Yes, and I think some of it is because the word coaching is so broad and in some ways can be quite vague. And for a lot of people that have never worked with a coach, the only reference they have is maybe a coach they had when they were doing sports earlier in their lives.
Yeah.
And those types of coaches, yes, they were there to guide them and develop them, but they were also often there to tell them what to do. And they would often play a very assertive, um, maybe even fear-based
Yeah.
approach to motivation. And so when you get into the world of leadership coaching for professionals, it can be a whole spectrum. Yes, there are people like that that are kind of not so quietly whispering or shouting in your ear around what it is that you need to do. But there's also a lot of other people that follow more of the classic definition of executive coaching,
Mm.
which is really based on leading from behind,
Yeah,
letting the client choose the direction that things go, seeing the client as whole, capable, and resourceful. So you don't need to be there to tell them what to do. You just need to be there to create space for them to tap into their own wisdom. Now, it's common that as you build a relationship, clients might want a combination of what that classic coaching is and something that is more in an advisory role,
yeah,
particularly within startups. They want a perspective of what you would do, and I think that's okay as long as you're being very clear with them. In this conversation, am I playing the role of coach, advisor, or
yeah,
friend?
yes, exactly. Yeah, and I think it's a lot about, and a lot of different coaches have said this to me. It's sometimes it's your job to just ask the right questions, and it's to, when someone calls you up, one of your clients, and they're panicking, they've got a big deal that they need to sort out, and they're really confused about which way to go. It's a matter of sitting back and just asking them the right questions, so then figure it out themselves and move forward with that. And yeah, it's very important. And I guess accountability is kind of key as well. You can set goals as a business owner, but your coach might guide you on thinking, well, you set your goal here, but why have you not set it here a little bit further?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The coach can absolutely play the role in holding up a mirror or sharing observations, uh, and helping you think bigger. Ultimately, it's the client's decision what to do. I'll give you an example. I started working with a health coach in March, and I I had set some goals around how frequently and how long I wanted to be exercising, and my coach was offering a different perspective or trying to expand my field of view of what was possible. Ultimately, he entrusted me to do the decision that was right, but I wouldn't have known or thought to push myself a little harder without his input.
For sure. Yeah, no, I totally get that. And it's very relatable in that sense. I think you mentioned the sports coaching earlier on. We use that analogy quite a bit. Every sports person in the world always has a coach. So why do you as a business owner not have one? You should have one. And it's, yeah, very relevant. Absolutely. So your firm, you've got a few different things under your umbrella I can see on your profile. What's the kind of vision for you next, and especially evolution, and what's the goals for you guys?
So Evolution's roots were primarily in venture-backed startups and working with early stage founders. As we've grown, we've diversified, and so now we work with leaders in all sizes of organizations and stages. Uh, I think that is part of our future, is to continue to support the startup community while demonstrating that our wisdom and experience is applicable to across sectors and across industries and sizes of business. For me personally, I want to continue to grow my practice. One of the areas of focus is that along with a fellow partner, John Volturo, I have an offering of services for the LGBTQ community. We run a leadership circle for gay, bisexual, and queer men. We have launched a new one for rising leaders in the LGBTQ community. And we have a retreat for gay, bisexual, and queer men wanting to take some time out to figure out their future. Beyond that, one of the things that's been a real bright spot for me this year has been working on a new initiative that we call Thrive Outside. And I'm doing that with two other Evolution partners, Mel Gordon and Jody Radke. And it's around helping people build awareness of the intersection between the outdoors and their own growth. So one of the things that we are launching is something called chairlift coaching, where we are quite literally providing leadership and executive coaching on the mountain slopes with a snowboarder or a skier.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
My goodness, you have a lot going on there.
You know, they told me when I first finished my coaching program to pick a focus. Niches have riches, they say.
Yeah,
And while I acknowledge that, I knew that I was not going to be satisfied in just working with one specific community on one specific task. And what I find energizing about coaching is that I can be working with a leader in a bank in the morning and a nonprofit leader in the afternoon and someone in tech the next day. And I love that diversity. It's like I get to live out more than 9 lives in one career.
yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, my dad is a business coach himself, and he was a big part of me getting into business and entrepreneurship when I was a kid. And yeah, he always talks about he never wakes up and thinks it's a bad day ahead because he gets to meet some of the most amazing people from different areas of business every single day. Yeah.
My very first coach was 88 at the time. And it really shifted my perspective around what this career pivot meant to me. And specifically, I have no intentions of ever retiring.
Yeah.
I
Same.
would, I, I might, I might set some different parameters around how many clients or the frequency that I meet. But this is something where I actually think there's value with wisdom and age. And I hope to be able to do it for decades to come.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, in terms of the growth for you and evolution in your coaching practice, what do you think some of the challenges are going to be for you guys in the years to come?
Well, I do think that there is potentially a saturation in the market. There are so many coaches out there, and so it's dependent on us, as it is for any other coach, to really be able to explain uh, what is the unique selling proposition we have, what value do we have to offer, regardless of what price point you're going at. You want to be able to show that it is worth the investment of the time and the money. And a good rule of thumb is that people should be able to feel that there's a 10x ROI on the investment.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's amazing. I hope and I wish you guys the best of luck with everything, and I hope it goes really well. Now, normally to round up these interviews, we do like to ask something from you to give people a book recommendation. Now, this can be any book that you want, but something that really inspired you. What would you recommend?
Well, given my start in this journey with Peter Drucker, I would recommend one of his timeless classics, which is The Effective Executive. I believe, as Peter Drucker did, that to be effective in managing others, you've got to start with being able to effectively manage yourself. And there are some great tools in there to start with yourself and then think of ways of effectively managing others and working with others.
Absolutely. Well, I hope everyone goes and checks it out. So where can people find you if they want to reach out?
You can find me on LinkedIn or the Evolution website, www.evolution.team. And you can find even more detail about my work at my personal website, which is gandolfogroup.com.
Amazing. All right. Well, thank you very much for coming on, Peter. It's been fantastic.
Thanks for the invitation, Sam.